second game in this elimination series, and what a switch up it is. We have such different matchups all across the board. It's going to be exciting to see how these two teams are going to play it out. Remember, in many best of fives, especially when you don't have the top of the elite teams of the world facing off against each other, many times people just default into their preferred play styles. Well, especially in elimination series, oftentimes afraid to switch things up and hesitant. But this time around, we have such a wide array of new champions being picked that there's really no way of telling who's gonna come out of this second game ahead. Interestingly, not much have chosen red side for this one. Usually blue side is the more popular pick on this patch globally, but with the types of champions they picked, it can be understood why they might have wanted to get that last pick flex switch up. We see Doggo trying to steal away the wrap up, very intelligently done here, and as Gemini fails to sleep across the wall, Doggo gets out there unscathed, but a nice little attempt here by Kaiser at stealing away that wrap off, and Gemini now in an awkward spot here, having been spotted by the enemy team, not able to take any more camps on that bottom side, whereas the Volibear might be able to take a bit more. Yeah, he has pivoted from his own blow into the enemy red buff take and might just go towards the what's it called, the crux, excuse me, there in the top side, seemingly preferring to take the Raptors out, as Nidalee is not approaching her topside jungle. Is going to be an early advantage for the side of Beyond. Let's talk about these very much different conversations this time around. We don't have any sort of split push top laners coming out here. We have the Gragas versus Renekton, typical matchup early on in the split. Two picks that are basically designed to neutralize each other. Renekton probably going up in CS a bit early on, but both primarily aimed at sustaining through the laning phase rather safely, and then make an effect later on when those team fights come around. In the mid lane, we have also a formerly quite popular top lane matchup here in the Akali versus the Aatrox. Very different from the first game, of course, where the Seraphine versus Orianna was being played. Instead, with these two champions now, I do feel like that this is going to be a very much different game. We don't have either a huge split pushing top lane matchup, and in the mid lane we don't have any sort of control mages. Instead, some bruisery assassin type champions, at the very least some melee champions being played. Therefore, with the AD carries being the only true range characters in this entire matchup, I do expect it to be a ton more brawl heavy and just more skirmishing coming out all across the board. For now though, remember it's still a dragon focused meta, therefore focus around the bot side early on is going to be helpful in most cases. We do have the weak side top lane picks already in the top lane, therefore bot side control is going to mean everything early on here. I do expect Aatrox to have the upper hand in the mid lane early on, and as well in the bot lane here with Sanatom Kenshi, you seemingly do have the priority in the lane phase. It seems at least as if MCX can just continuously shove in those waves here in the bottom side. Gemini now taking his first base on the Nidalee means that he's not going to be around exactly when the dragon spawns, but apparently just decides to clear from top to bot and go into the dragon afterwards. Husha now has spotted out this play, and they know that Gemini apparently is coming towards his top side. Ward plays down from Mawan means that MCX don't have any idea that the Volibear is currently in Nidalee's jungle here. Instead, he positions up towards the top side and tries to get a catch down maybe onto the Gragas or something. Stunned up is Likai and chunked quite low by the Volibear. E already, he is taken low, and Liang flashes over, stuns him up, not quite able to take him out, but Husha finishes him off. Gemini now coming in for the finishing blow, gets Liang down as well. Survives against Husha for now. Can't afford to really continue this fight any further. Another Volibear W might just be his death already. Great dodge out onto the javelin toss from Husha, and the teleport from both sides is probably about to come in. What a nice javelin toss now, this time around from Gemini though. Oh, messes up his combo and gives Husha the opportunity to just flash out of there. And now it's Gemini who needs to pay attention, but Liang with no flash decides to dash in aggressively and might just get taken out here. Might have bitten off a bit more than he can chew, honestly. Needs to dodge out on this javelin toss, but great combination with the body slam. Makes it impossible for the Renekton to avoid it. What a clean play here from the top side of MCX. And if anybody had any doubt about how they are mentally able to cope with throwing that first game when already being the underdogs in this matchup, they are demonstrating that they are not afraid to strike back here. And clean execution from their top jungle duo means that Beyond get punished for this quite aggressive move here up top, despite Husha playing it mechanically quite well here, dodging time and time again and finishing off the kill on the Gragas, of course. But then Renekton here just being a little bit too overeager, and it seems as though Likai might just be the most stable top laner in these in these first two games, with Liang attempting to catch out the Nidalee, but he doesn't have the damage, and I wonder what he thought would happen there, but well, whatever he thought, it did not occur. He did not manage to pull through and therefore gets rightfully finished off. What a great combination here, so beautiful to look at. Oh my lord. Anyhow, regardless of what's going on in top lane, where of course the Renekton has been set a bit behind, but is still very much fine and able to lane 1v1 with the Merc threats being picked up. Very effective, of course, against the double magic damage top side from the enemy team. He's still very fine here, and with one kill on the Volibear, Husha should be able to threaten tower dives all across the map once hitting that level 6 mark. It should be a bit tough to execute though, maybe just return towards the top side, but the thing is, despite them probably being able to kill Gragas once or twice more with a Volibear ult on a well-timed wave in a tower dive, you really have to wonder how effective that's going to be. You very much would prefer having kills on that Akali or Kai'Sa, but seems very difficult to dive an Aatrox or a Sanatom Kench lane that just constantly shoves in your laners. Yep, therefore, I want to see Husha get creative here, and MCX once more in a very fine spot here early on already with more than 1000 gold in the advantage, and continuously probably going to get more turret plates as they are winning their lanes so far. Aatrox now apparently been taken low here, will probably have to flash out with the Volibear ult being available, but Beyonce don't decide to pull the trigger here. I would have liked them to see them go for this. No flash on the Volibear was maybe the deciding factor in them calling the play off, but might have been a kill angle onto the Aatrox, quite frankly. Still with the Hex Drinker completed, I do expect Jimmy to stabilize this lane. He is about 10 CS behind early on, which is something that I would have not expected to see, but maybe the early healing reduction picked up by Mawan just proves too difficult a task for Jimmy to sustain through. And with him not dying, he pretty much fulfills his role already while his top side has gotten ahead. Rift Herald once more about to be picked up by Beyond here. MCX surely are late to the party, but they decide to go for the skirmish instead. Marwan has been found out and the Volibear ult has already been blown. It seems as though MCX are winning out on the skirmish heavily. First kill picked up by Likai and the Gragas. Can they give some more kills onto the carry members? Nidalee picks up one finally for herself. And that second kill picked up by Gemini is a big boost in power for that Nidalee. Jimmy and chasing after Marwan might not be able to finish off that kill. Execution coming in from the Akali. At least that's going right for Beyond, but 4-1 in kills for MCX. Again, even a more positive early game, and not even the Rift Herald having been finished off here in this play. You can see it was taken down to below 1000 HP, but Beyond are not able to finish it off since the smite is not available for Husha here, and therefore they need to turn and fight an already lost fight in combination with that Senna ult also coming in for the side of MCX. There's really no winning this for Beyond, and maybe a little bit of lack of foresight here coming in for them, not thinking about what their reaction should or even could be once collapsed upon. Costs them dearly here in this early game. And despite the Atrox not getting any kills himself, he is able to sustain in this 1v1 just well enough for his team to win out elsewhere on the map. And come these next upcoming skirmishes, this Atrox is going to be a terror to deal with. And Akali really only having 2 guys to focus with, the Senna and the Nidalee. And having to worry about the Devour coming out from Koala as well as the Exhaust. It's going to have a tough time really affecting those skirmishes. Needs to coordinate well with the Renekton on the top side to maybe focus, shift the focus from the Tahm Kench and threaten both those enemy squishies at the same time. Whew. Maybe a short opportunity for a quick breather here, as MCX try to make something work onto this Akali, but don't have the tools to quite do so, with the Tahm Kench not being the strongest provider of CC. And it seems to be them just setting up around that Mountain Dragon here. First one for the taking. Of course, with no dragon having been picked up early on, there's no immediate threat of soul stacking for either side. No huge focus shifted towards this dragon so far, but eventually MCX should make sure not to give those first 2 bigger objectives away again. Summon down the Rift Herald here in the bot lane, and it's clear what they're looking to do. They are trying to get this turret pushed down, but they are probably not going to be able to do so. Never mind that though, as Jimmy N is actually the first mid laner to move down here. Might just be able to threaten the 4v3 here, but they are still very cautious about moving forward, and therefore the turret survives this Rift Herald charge. And with, well, never mind that, they are actually going to pull through on this dive. Turret being taken down first, Doggo avoids the chains from the Atrox. Nice javelin toss, dodge out here by the side of Beyond, and nothing more is going to happen. After all, the first turret bounty going over to MCX. We see down left here in the corner, 7-0. Turret platings being picked up here for the red team's side means almost 4,000 gold lead, as well as the first dragon picked up here. And despite there being a real possibility that a Cloud Soul is the one to spawn in this one, they're going to be very happy just having Beyond in no position at all to contest for a soul threat. Once more an early game where MCX come out on top of, but this time around no late game safety insurance here with the Seraphine for the side of Beyond, but instead them relying on outplaying their opponents with champions such as the Kaiser or the Akali. And we can see already here in these 2v2s, there's no way to really threaten that Senna whenever the Tahm Kench is around her. Very much required a Renekton, or maybe just a Volibear to combo in with the Akali and threaten multiple people before they can take down any of those squishies. The lead, something that's rarely talked about as well, and most people don't realize on the surface, is how experienced leads do really matter, because they don't show up in the gold graph, but 1 level up for the Nidalee in the jungle, 1 level up for the Atrox as well in the middle lane, with Maoan only now closing that gap. And in the bot lane, the level lead instead for the Kaiser does indicate quite a huge amount of gold that's not gonna show up on the scoreboard necessarily, and it really tells you the story here, as both Sol has hit level 11 on the red team side. This Gragas and Atrox are decently far ahead of their lane opponents, even though it might not necessarily seem as such by simply looking at the scoreboard itself. And instead on the bottom side, it's the Kaiser with the advantage early on over the Senna. No mythic item completed yet for Doggo, means that of course he needs to do that before he looks for any major involvement in fights. But with the experience lead already, he is well positioned to, with that 1 or 2 item mark, out impact Senna in those team fights. Senna typically a pick that needs a little bit longer to come online, wants to stack up those souls, but already 65 of them accumulated is a ridiculous amount for 50 minutes into the game. 65 souls, yeah, that's almost unheard of here for this Senna. So despite being down a little bit in XP and possibly in gold as well, that turret plating money from earlier and that ridiculous amount of souls is more than making up for this differential. here. We already see that range coming out from the center here. Quite ridiculous indeed. Picks up more and more souls as this game progresses and just simply gets to hit away freely against the enemy composition. Remember, we're talking about how this is a game of melee champions across the board, barring the AD carries. 4 melee champions on the side of Beyond Gaming means that Senna can just freely hit away at those whenever she gets the opportunity to harass people and stack souls as she pleases. 0-3 running in the top lane, also probably just a bit too far behind to pose a serious threat to enemy carries. And MCX can really not afford to give this one out of their hands as well. It has to linger in the back of their minds, of course, how they did throw that first game here. And remember, despite their strong finish to the regular season, they are by all means the underdogs here in this matchup. Beyond has far and away looked like a top 2 team in the split. Probably the only one to really contest PSG, but with them dropping 0-3 to set number 1 team in the upper bracket finals, semi-final number 1 here. It looks as though MCX might be the team that needs to pick up their mantle here in contesting PSG. Great damage coming out onto Doggo already. Gemini flashes in but gets chomped up by Kino here just in time for his AD carry to get out of the Liang. Gets his teleport burn for no real good reason and chunked down to half as well. Pops his ultimate to sustain a bit, but there's no shot. They are defending this turret. Herald itself might just finish it off. Liang tries to clear the wave, but there's no stopping that rift. Herald lick high with the explosive cast. That's ugly to look at. Instead gets turned on now, but is too tanky to be taken out himself. Misses all his spells. Happens to the best of us. But maybe Greg is not his most comfortable champion, as he looks quite unfortunate here. Alright, MCX, decent play here. All 3 outer turrets being taken down means that they are advancing at a reasonable speed. In this one, we see Renekton versus Aatrox, and that's a matchup you don't really want to see if you're MCX. A typical lane counter for the Aatrox is the Renekton whenever they are playing in top lane. Of course, here, not having lanes against each other, Aatrox does have the 20 CS lead, but Renekton is still way stronger in a 1v1 situation here, since the Aatrox invested 1300 gold into magic resist Hex Drinker. Therefore, surely not going to be able to contend with the Renekton despite him being almost 30 CS up. Needs to finish his first item here with the mythic being the Gore Drinker, and pretty much the same items as the Renekton. Since you can't count the Hex Drinker in a pure 1v1 situation, means that Renekton should still be able to threaten this Aatrox. I would prefer to see MCX send somebody else to deal with Liang. Second dragon picked up by them, and the Infernal Soul being the one coming up in this one should, well, be music to their ears, quite frankly. With a Nidalee composition Senna as well, the Infernal Soul is just ridiculous. Even Aatrox can make huge usage of that. Another play seemingly being attempted onto Liang, who just gets himself out of there with his slice and dice. Not quite working out for the side of Mochi, but I do like them being the more proactive team this time around, even with their lead still, well, pushing the envelope here, not relenting in the slightest. And despite all their kills being in the top side of the map, they did a great job at spreading it all throughout, with that heavy turret plating focus being shifted towards the center, and just enough attention towards the Aatrox to not get into huge trouble in this 1v1 against Mauan, who did look a little bit stronger early on. Red buff being stolen away as well here from the Nidalee. I like what they're doing this time around, still keeping that control around the bottom side, and I did criticize them last game for not shifting control towards the bot side and towards the top side, excuse me, and play around the Baron Nashor. But honestly, quite frankly, in this one, they don't need to worry about that. If they just keep stacking those dragons, that's enough of a win condition for them already. Therefore, keeping that control up around the southern side of the map, even with the Akali split pushing in the top, and even with the possibility that Beyond might just attempt a Baron sneak, just like they did in the game before, where they turned the tides of it by out team fighting the opportunity, the opposing team at the Baron buff. This time around, MCX don't need to worry about it that much. It seems as though Beyond are now trying to make a desperate attempt here in the bot lane, though, with Mauan teleporting into the backline and Likai being caught up in the front line. Mauan dives in onto the center. There's no Devour available, and it actually is Adelan dropping first here. Jimmy N in the front line threatens the backline of Beyond, but it seems as though Akali is just wreaking havoc in the entire enemy team, and it seems as though MCX are getting aced here. Stasis out of Mauan keeps him alive, and dashing after Koala, almost getting taken out by the tongue lash, but Renekton flashes forward, finishes off the ace here. 5-for-1 trade, and oh my lord, did we speak too soon. That was a good attempt here. Akali teleporting in the back line had not been spotted out by MCX. They had no idea that was coming. And therefore, with the Devourer wasted early on, it's actually just what we were talking about. The Renekton and the Akali together being able to threaten enough of a dive that Tom Kenshin himself cannot repel their advance here. And with Aatrox doing a good job here in the front line, but not having any follow-up onto the enemy backline, there's no way for them to turn that fight around after their AD carry gets taken out. Now it will be exciting to see how much you recover from this. They are still in the driver's seat, and they do not need to panic. There was no Dragon, no Baron being picked up by Beyond after that fight, as neither was realistically available. 1 minute 40 seconds. If Marchi just keep calm, shuffle out those waves once more. There's no Akali teleport threat available anymore this time around. They do need to worry about the Renekton. Maybe do a bit of a better job of sweeping and clearing out those wards behind you whenever you're pushing in those waves, so that the enemy team don't have any opportunity to get good teleport flanks off. That would be ideal for them. Or just play a little bit more cautious and have the Tom Kench center. Yeah, just be a bit safer. No flashes on many members of the side of Beyond also means that by all means Marchi should not be able to be engaged in these following minutes before the dragon. I do want to see them asserting their control and taking it down. I don't like them shifting towards the top side. I would much rather have Gemini instead be around the dragon area already, and the Baron is no real threat. And although Beyond might be attempting to once more trade it for the dragon, it would do Marchi a great favor on focusing on that latter objective. How are they setting this up? Everybody's already around the bot side and the mid lane for both teams, but I don't see Beyond being able to contest this. What I would like them to do is either again try and take Baron while the opposing team is occupied with that dragon, but I don't think that's very much feasible in this one. They don't have the Baron speed, in my opinion. Therefore, I would like to see them push out the side waves and get some control there. Just pick up that farm or maybe invade the enemy jungle. Just do something to pick up a bit, a small portion of gold in return. It's only the third dragon so far, so they don't need to fight this. And therefore, I don't like them grouping 5-5, but maybe they can fight a good team fight here. Collapsing onto Jimmy and are they? And they might just get that first pick of the fight cleanly here. Down goes the Aatrox, and Beyond found the first kill. Likai on the run here. It's a completely disorganized MCX that are forced to flee here from the occasion, but with Husha being quite low himself and no flashes available except on Dago, Beyond need to be very careful of those 4 men from MCX continuing the fight. 25 seconds for Aatrox to respawn and teleport back in, but it's a great knockup from the Rakan here onto Gemini. Not taken out though, and it's the support who drops. Actually, Mauan dives back in onto the Nidalee, who tries to get that Dragon Smite, and it's Renekton who picks it up. Beyond have the job done here with another kill picked up. They do get themselves out of there, but a nice Tom Cancel catches them off. How many of them can escape here realistically? Doggo gets slowed up by the Tom Kench and taken out as well. Shutdown going over to Koala. Is this MCX shifting over towards the Baron? There's no jungler available for them, but it's only Kali on the other side. They did not get this dragon there for 10 more minutes until they can threaten a Dragon Soul. They do need to be more diligent in preparing for these objectives, as we can see here. Getting collapsed on too freely and wasting a bunch of key cooldowns mean that even after the fight, after the situation when they approach the dragon again here just in a few seconds, no explosive cask and such abilities means that they can't get as much out of this as they want to. Did start this Baron up, in fact, and are now turning on towards the Akali. Senna being gobbled up by Tahm Kench keeps her alive, and Akali gets taken down. Teleport coming in from Liang, who needs to make a run for his money here. He gets body slammed up and might just be taken out. Barrel throws him back into the entire team of MCX, and Liang drops. Actually, that was an overreach for the side of Beyond for sure. Um, I do think it was worth it, as they are canceling the Baron take of the opposing team, but they probably could have done the same thing without Renekton necessarily suiciding as well, or maybe just teleport somewhere adjacent and not directly into the fight. Not a look at the situation, which we did not see the start of. Rakan and Akali both approaching the situations and forcing MCX to turn. Maoan then drops before very well. He doesn't have the ultimate available, it seems, therefore. Yeah, really not able to get a whole lot done. But Liang, yeah, he didn't have to teleport there. The fight was probably already over when he started channeling that. Therefore, I don't like that decision on their part. And as the Baron has been well, has been avoided, it's still 5,000 gold gap at least here in favor of MCX. Jesus. The Tahm Kench is also, I mean, he's not doing a whole lot, but he's so tanky with those 3 kills, and of course the CS he has picked up early on as well. And the longer the game goes, the scarier this Senna will actually get. They are trying to run down this running in the top side. Flash blown off Liang, and just ridiculous amounts of damage for 2 items Senna here. Despite them not getting the kill, they are once more grabbing control of this top side. I don't want to see any half-assed attempts here for them at the Baron buff. They do need to set up properly, but again, they get teleported behind, this time responding in time with their own teleport, and Beyond not able to find a flank unseen. Teleport used by the Akali means that there's about about 2 minutes before Liang has his teleport available again, before Beyond can flank once more with that ability. Maybe this is the window where MCX can start up a Baron or even the next upcoming Dragon. They really don't need to panic here. They are not getting outscaled by any means in this game. They can take it slow and just play for this Dragon's all in. And they don't need to flip these Dragons. They can wait until they have a good setup and force the enemies out. I want to see them take it slower than in the game before, play more controlled, and don't split up before the fights and get caught out like they did as at the last Dragon fight. Smite for the crab at the Nashor is also won by MCX. There's little to no vision for Beyond around the area. MCX can decide to play around this Baron and bait for it, but they are getting spotted out by this ward here. They did not clear all the wards in time, and again, this is the type of setup I want to see from them before starting off these objectives. They don't need to risk anything here, but it seems as though it's going good for them so far. Liang on the bot side forced out here by Jimmy, and I don't like the word and by the Aatrox here, since it's probably not an all-in yet. Liang gets taken low but still survives the occasion, and it's Jimmy who on the other side gets taken low himself. Gemini also below half HP. Akali dives in, great cancel out from Likai though. And dive in from Doggo actually. Where is this guy coming from? Trades his life with Atlants, and both AD carries have dropped already. Now it's only melees brawling with each other here. Body Slam doing huge work in these skirmishes. It seems as though MCX are just better equipped to win those melee fights here. Koala teleporting behind the enemy team with his Abyssal Voyage, and this Blast Cone might just be a saving grace for Team Beyond Gaming. But as the dust settles and all the carries have been dropped, it's the Dragon still alive, and 20 seconds remaining on that means that MCX have secured themselves the superior setup for the objective. Take a look at this. Jimmy and poops the World Ender, but does not have the damage to finish off Leon. It's not necessary to pop your Aatrox out so early into the fight, and in return he almost gets burst out by the enemy combo. Doggo dives in here to finish off the Senna. Quite the crazy play from him. Flashes over the wall to get the finishing blow off, but manages to trade 1 for 1. I mean, it's probably not worth by his eye, but it was quite cleanly played here, not faulting him for that. Then though, you can see that Aatrox not relying on any mana and just consistently healing up against those enemy champions that don't have a huge amounts of burst once the Akali and Kai'Sa are out of the picture, Aatrox is just the king of this game. He can't be taken out anymore after that. And with the CC from his top end support, he is able to well, win them that skirmish. Dragon being started up and probably just taken out before MCX can even get in. This is exactly what I was complaining on earlier. Where is their setup for these objectives? Kino gets cancelled out by Lekai but finds a dive onto the center. Devour already used by Koala. Is this the angle Beyond needed in order to get in on towards Atlan? No flash on the Kai'Sa might just be a bit difficult for Doggo to affect the fight. Liang does a great job stalling, but finally drops Maoan already below half HP himself. Probably does not have a way out of this one. Never mind that, but the Abyssal Voyage cuts off his way once more. Likai comes with his Tom Kench, and the stasis from Maoan only will delay his death for that long. It's taken out by Atlan finally. And again, MCX win the skirmish but lose the dragon fight. Now 2 dragons to the side of Beyond Gaming. And I did say MCX did not have to worry about the late game, but if they actually mess this up twice more and give their opponents that Infernal Soul, they probably aren't able to contest those team fights anymore after that. Still, it's going to be 9 minutes earliest until either of these teams can pick up that soul. And despite Marchi's failure to secure these past 2 dragons and set up properly for them, they do win out consistently on those skirmishes and are now turning towards the Baron once more. Beyond are around though and are trying to cancel them, forcing them to turn off the objective. Atlan has been taken almost to half HP from the Baron buff alone. It's looking a bit rough for the Marchi AD carry, but with his front line he is able to force Beyond off. But again, teleport blown from Marwan into the mid lane means that Beyond have all 5 members assembled. Again, they managed to disrupt this Baron take, and this time around did not even have to give up any members in order to achieve that. Only a mere 6,000 gold advantage for MCX and no more dragons in their favor here. Instead, it's actually more damage in terms of dragons for the side of Beyond, and you really have to wonder how MCX are communicating at this point. They are failing to meet their key win conditions and again are being baited into a bad Baron situation for them by by Beyond Gaming, excuse me. They are looking for a turn here on towards the enemy backline, but Atlan wisely avoids that all in. Good job by the center here and finally gets devoured. It's a good fight for Marchi so far. Akali is still alive and wreaking havoc though. What a good flash in from Liang. Assassinates the enemy AD carry, and Jimmy N now has all the responsibility in the world to carry this fight. Now double kill for the Aatrox, and Maoan is getting chased down by Koala. He is auto-checking this Akali to death and finally gets him down. It looked for a moment as though Liang might have found the decisive pick, but too many cooldowns had been expended already in pursuit of this center, where Atlan avoided a capture very, very well here without even having the flash available to himself and only getting devoured by Tom Kench at the last second. Good job here by him playing around the enemy dive threat early on in this fight. Sees Rakan coming in here, steps back right in time before the Rakan and the Volleyball ult can hit him, then gets devoured, and as he comes out of the Tom Kench's belly, gets flashed on and assassinated by Liang. But at this point, it's already been a bunch of cooldowns blown by the opposing team just trying to get onto him and failing to do so, that Jimmy N now has the freedom to clean up this fight. And whenever both AD carries drop in a 1-for-1 trade, it is worth it for the side of Beyond Gaming. Just the raw 3v3 of melees, they are gonna win every time with that Aatrox. There's no more burst anymore on the side of Beyond when their carries drop. And the Akali, also, well, trading Akali for Nidalee is not worth it for the side of Beyond. They do need that burst damage in order to contend with Jimmy and in the mid lane. It's just some sort of a composition difference at this point, honestly. MCX are consistently playing these situations, at least in terms of setup, playing them worse, but having the get out of jail free card of the Tom Kench here, as well as just their beefy composition that allows them for a bit more of a sloppy team fighting approach, means that Beyond cannot really punish them for their poor setups as bad as last game around. Another Baron sprouted up in full vision of Beyond Gaming. No teleport on Liang means that it's going to be a 4v5 this time around, though it might just be a good setup for MCX at this point. No engage being found yet, and the Baron still being taken. And now already having passed the mid lane is joining the fight. It's a 5v5 now and the Baron has not been taken yet. They don't want to 50-50 this, and it's stolen away by Husha from Beyond. Marwan getting flashed upon, just trying to make his way out of there. Is probably not gonna be able to get away here. He's into the stasis, but with that plant being popped, Gemini takes him out finally. Still, once more, it's the same story every damn time. It's been about the fourth time where they skirmish with a poor setup for themselves, don't do their homework, then setting up for the objectives, don't turn or pull through properly, and get punished. Baron being stolen for only 1 kill for them. They do take the top lane inhibitor in return though, and are keeping the push up. They do need to pull out here. They can't go towards these Nexus turrets. The enemy Baron minions are going to be too strong. They don't want this fight. I'm calling it right now. It's not looking too good for them. They have the 1-man advantage though, and Beyond might be a little bit over aggressive here. Explosive Cask crucially missing here, and it's Jimmy N dropping first. 1 minute death timer onto the Aatrox means MCX finally pull out of there, and despite having that man advantage, it's Akali and Renekton who are now about to teleport into the enemy backline. This could be game deciding for the side of Beyond Gaming. There comes the second teleport, and Renekton is already here. He has been spotted out and he does not want to go in there alone. Dashes over the wall in the top side and his team is finally approaching. Killer Instinct not available for Kaiser means there's no able to gap close here. No ability for them, and MCX might just have gotten out by the by an inch here in that top side. Fortunate turn of events for them after overreaching into the enemy base when it was clear that they were not going to be able to push any further. Here Jimmy N tries to turn onto the bot side of the fight, but not able to land anything initially, and then just 50-50 flipping this Baron is just lazy. Honestly, the Volibear able to ult in there and Nidalee tries to combo down the Baron, but doesn't have the damage. Volibear takes it away, and all in all, it's just disaster for MCX again. This team needs to be shook right now. They have to be shook, excuse me. It's tough for them. They win these early games, but then they don't know how to close out effectively. And every time they try to get close to one of their win conditions, be it the enemy base, be it the Baron or the Dragon, they get beat out by more intelligent play from the side of Beyond Gaming. And this time it's even more grotesque, because due to the nature of their comp, they can hardly ever lose these skirmishes, no matter how good an angle Beyond finds, and therefore they keep winning the situations in some sort of a, well, it's very weird, honestly. It's some sort of a Pyrrhic victory every time. It's rough. It's rough, honestly, to watch, but it slowly but surely they are getting closer towards the enemy Nexus. Beyond once more trying to find an angle onto the enemy bot line. Marwan and Liang approaching from the side, diving in here. First one to drop is the support here. Kino going down on the Rakan. Killer Instinct used by Doggo dives into the enemy backline. Picks up a huge shutdown, and Beyond found a great team fight here. Taking out 4 enemy people already, excuse me. And Jimmy and the last one standing, despite him healing for a bunch here and taking out Husha on his way out. He's not able to finish Marwan after a good stopwatch by the Akali. Tries to stay alive longer and longer, but Renekton finally able to take him out. Oh my lord. It's been a good attempt by MCX, but honestly Beyond just once more finding the good flank onto the enemy team, who has not played cautiously enough and got taken out. Still though, they are not going to be able to finish off this game. Dagos might just stick around for this inhibitor, but with Senna coming up as well as Nidalee, he will pull out afterwards. Ooh, wow. It's almost even in gold now. The Baron has run out, and another look at this fight should tell us how Marchi ended up losing it. Marwan and Liang approaching from the top side here, and oh my lord, yeah, Gemini got caught up in the Rakan engage, therefore pretty much dead already, but Liang and Akali wasted no time with the Nidalee and dove straight onto the enemy backline with the Gragas and the Senna, completely annihilating them, and then afterwards it's pretty much only Jimmy. And again, just like earlier, when you have the Aatrox up against these other melees, he's not able to be taken out, but with the Akali here, this time around assisting Liang, they are slowly but surely able to take Jimmy and down. He really needs a Spirit Visage, honestly. He didn't go for that. It's a weird decision. He needs to sell that Hex Drinker and that Malmortius shouldn't have completed it in the first place, in my opinion, for that Spirit Visage. I know that there's a bunch of healing reduction on the opposing team, but that's not that's no reason for him to not be going for that Spirit Visage. That's the core concept of his champion. And now with the Tiamat being the last item here, as soon as he has the Hydra, there's even more healing on his side. I would urge him to please sell that Malmortius for the Visage and healing bonus. It's the Dragon Soul on the table for Beyond. With that Drake, they are almost certainly gonna win the game. MCX need to make a move now or concede this game. They are giving up this Dragon, as it seems. Nidalee tries to get in there, but it's picked up by the side of Beyond. It's disaster for Marchi once more. They are getting completely annihilated in the backline. Devour already used. Senna getting taken out finally. Let's see, can Aatrox do anything to salvage his fight? Nope, gets taken out himself. And what a sad story once more, this time around, even further ahead in the early game, where MCX, but once more getting taken out in these objectives fights, slowly but surely, time and time again, not able to secure the dragons, not even the Baron, and therefore losing another fight and possibly the game already. It's 25 seconds onto the center, and Tahm Kench is also still alive, therefore they might be able to stall this a bit longer. It's only 3 members from the enemy team, and the Kaiser is quite low. I don't see Beyond being able to finish this one, honestly. 10 seconds on the Kaiser. It's gonna be close, actually. They are taking out these turrets slowly but surely. Koala has gone in there, but it's almost dead already. The Senna is about to come up, and it seems as though Beyond are able to finish this one off, in fact. Atlan comes in, but it is all too late, and it's a 2-0 score for Beyond, who seemingly are just unable to drop a single game in the series, no matter how poor the early game goes for them. Elimination point, let's see what MCX can bring to the table. Of Beyond are just gonna close out cleanly and move up into the grand finals against PSG once more.